What's up guys, this is Arthur for BLUFF the Spot, and do you know what to do with the outcome you see in solvers? That's a topic a lot of people struggle with, and that's what we're going to cover today. Okay guys, so let's jump into the action. We have this first hand here with ace-4 of spades, and yeah, of course we decide to open it on the button, and we face a 3-bet. Would be sometimes 4-betting a hand like this, but on a low frequency, especially in position we're not supposed to 4-bet that often. And yeah, we're gonna go ahead and click call fairly often with a very easy decision actually. I like my opponent's sizing. I personally go slightly bigger, but I think his sizing is also okay. He's going big enough to make my life difficult in position. And the flop is ace deuce 10 rainbow. And there's quite a few things to consider here in which our opponent should be thinking about. So first of all, his 3-bet range is hitting this board fairly well with hands like ace king, ace queen, ace jack, ace 10, aces, 10s, and all sorts of like high cards in which they have ace highs, especially if he 3-bets a lot of suited aces. I'm also not going to have too many sets. I have a reduced amount of combos of pocket deuces. I don't have pocket aces. I don't have ace king as much as he has. I don't have ace queen as much as he has. And I also don't have a bunch of offsuit combos like ace 10 offsuit or ace jack offsuit as much as he has, because I'll be 4-betting some of those combos pre-flop. Not 100% of the frequency, not 100% of the time, but on a good frequency at least. So I already have a reduced amount of combos of ace highs, of sets and strong hands. So he has a particularly good advantage here. So I think all in all, it's fine to go for range continuation bet here for small size. So, and anything that is not doing this is probably a mistake, especially from population that is underbalanced, especially on this mixed scenarios. So let's say if he has to have a mixed strategy here, he's supposed to be checking around like 20% of his hands. And let's say a hand like that I think population is checking too often here, like pocket kings or pocket queens or pocket jacks or some 10x's, they're going to be checking instead of like 20%, like some hands are being suggested by pile solver, for example, like hands like pocket kings are gonna get checked on a low frequency. They're gonna be the hands that will be checking, but still on a low frequency. What I think is gonna happen here is that population is probably gonna bet anything like air and ace axis, strong ace axis, and then with weaker showdown value like pocket kings and pocket queens, they will be checking way more than they should. So my opponent here decides to go for check. So we have a few considerations here. We don't need to follow pile solver strictly. I think our opponent is very likely to have weaker ace axis. As I said, like his range starts to get very narrow here towards weaker ace axis, pocket kings, pocket queens, pocket jacks, some 10x's, some weaker 10x's as well. So I think as for our general strategy, we don't want to use that much smaller bets anymore, because his range is already pretty narrow, and if we want to apply pressure on that medium showdown value hands, we want to size up and we want to go for multiple streets of bluffs if we want to bet. If you want, also if you have a lot of confidence about your opponent's strategy, you can just apply a lot of pressure with any 2 cards here and just go all the way down. Of course, you have to have the correct reads here. So I include a lot of check backs as well, especially with like medium slash weaker showdown value, like a hand like this, because I still think my opponent here is supposed to, or he's likely checking hands like ace 3, ace 5, and yeah, a few stronger hands than mine, and a lot of like medium showdown values are not going to be able to call 3 streets, so I'm not going to be able to get 3 streets with my hand anyways. So if there's ever a chance of him like checking air here and bluffing turns, I want him to do that. So I also see my hand as not needing that much protection, so I went for a check back. We hit the 2 pairs on the turn. It goes another time for check, and I think that's the time for us to start getting some value. It's still possible he has an ace, on his range, and yeah, it's still possible that he has a lot of medium showdown value hands here. So I go for a normal bet. He calls, and we see this river. So here we have a decision, and if we start looking at the sim, uh, we probably are supposed to jam. I think I can sim this hand and also show the simulation later. The thing is, if we narrow, like, if we see in theory, yeah, the gem is very valuable, but Pyrosaur is probably going to check some strong hands. Is probably going to be able to call and bluff catch some strong hands as well. But the question here is population going to be able to bluff catch some hands like pocket queens or pocket kings here? And the answer is, I think, no. If we overbet jam for 2x of the pot, and that's why I think I prefer a 3/4 bet. I also block a lot of his ace x's, which is the biggest portion of his range that we want him to call. So I think exploitative versus populations, it would be better to use a 3/4 sizing. But maybe I had a read on the opponent in game, or maybe I thought he was a calling station or something, and I went for the 2x jam. And which is what I think Pio is probably going to suggest, and we can check on the sim later. And he does calls the jam, so and he has pocket kings. So all in all, I think yeah, again, I think his range gets pretty narrow, and we can see like the exact hand we were thinking about his range, and yeah, I think his play is not optimal. Probably first population he doesn't want to be bluff catching 2x pot river bets with this kind of action that we had. So yeah, I think I can show you the simulation as well. So yeah, as you can see by the river here, we are mainly jamming. There are some 3/4 bet as well, but the jam is the preferred sizing. But I still think that that Pi is probably calling wider, and Pi is probably going to be more balanced towards having more ace x's than population has here. Therefore, the jam is going to be correct in theory, but in practice, I think the 3/4 would work a little bit better. Still, even seeing the pocket king's hand on my opponent, I think we got a little bit lucky to find the correct opponent to be doing that against, or maybe I knew that he was going to call this. I don't know, but versus general population, I think this might be too much. Okay, guys. So we have another hand, which is the ace king offsuit, and we'll be 3-betting, of course, big blind versus button. We end up c-betting our entire range here. That's probably my strategy I will be wanting to follow. If you want, you can probably play a mixed strategy, but that's not what I prefer. And even if you want to play a mixed strategy, like if you simulate this board, it's probably going to be on a very high frequency bet. So I think simplifying, especially out of position, is going to be the best option, especially at this stakes as well. So we do go for a bet, and then the 7 of spades appears on the turn. First of all, I think we're going to be including a lot of checks already on the turn. But specifically with ace king, I think that's the hand we probably bet the most when we're talking about ace x's. So we're going to be including quite a few checks here, but not checking our entire ace king range. So yeah, it's important for us to start tracking here at some frequency, even with hands like ace king. But given the fact this is one of the best portion of our ace x's, we're still going to be betting on a higher frequency with those. So I like the bet, and since we're slightly deeper, I like my sizing as well. I'm sizing well for a river jam. So I think the check would be pretty much very fine here, and then yeah, we see a river in which we want to check a lot more. So I see a lot of people going for jams here, which I think it's not that reasonable. Even something like check call here is dangerous because population is not bluffing enough and not value betting enough here. I was lucky to find an opponent that was value betting too wide, and potentially thinks wrongly about my range. But even if you see on the simulation here, we should be checking on a very high frequency with ace king here. So even Pile Solver is already recognizing this is not a great board for us and a great run out in general. So I think including a lot of checks here would be good. And mm, might not be that standard, especially on the turn. I think that's where the action gets a little bit dicey, and we should include a lot of checks in which population is probably not doing, especially with this kinds of hands. Myself included, I think I'm batting too often here with this ace king combos. And then we went for a check, and then we have decision on the river. Of course, I'm going to be folding against a lot of population, but against this opponent, I knew he was aggressive enough to go for bluffs here, or for this kind of weird plays. And yeah, we did check call, which is something that Pi will be doing on a high frequency as well, like going for a check call if he does check ace king. I think it's reasonable against some aggressive opponent, but against most population it can be very dangerous. And yeah, it worked out this time, so that was for the last hand for this video. Thanks for watching. Alright guys, that was it for today. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to this channel. I'll be back next week with another video, but before anything, let me know down below in the comments what do you think about the hands I reviewed today, and I see you guys back next week.